Today's call to order. Welcome to the Wednesday, January 11th, 2023 regular meeting of the Sachem Board of Education. Please stand for the pledge. Please stand for a moment of self-dedication. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's turn the meeting over to Dr. Pelletieri to provide the Sachem Superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, President Scotto. I appreciate that. Happy New Year to all in attendance and at home, and to our board and administrators. Thank you so much. We are going to jump in immediately with an important topic, the Seal of Civic Readiness. I understand we have some staff here tonight. Ms. Hines, you're going to do a little bit of an introduction to this presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us tonight. Tonight we are really pleased to introduce to you the tremendous work that went on between our administrators as well as our social studies chairs across our secondary schools to bring forth the Sachem Seal of Civic Readiness, which is an accreditation, a seal for students graduating from our school system who are inclined to work in government, etc. But this is also something that we haven't experienced for all of our students starting at the 8th grade level and beyond. So tonight I want to welcome Ms. Melandro, Ms. O'Doherty, and I pass it over to them. Is this on?
Good evening to everyone. My name is Maria O'Doherty. I am a director in the district, and we're pleased to share with you our recent progress around the Sachem Seal of Civic Readiness. I know that we spoke about this almost a year and a half ago, and there was a little bit of a delay at the state during the COVID closure and remote learning, but we're happy to say that our Sachem applications have been approved, and we're excited to share with you our progress thus far. I have with me Ms. Melandro from Sachem East, our social studies chairperson, and also Mr. Caracello from Sachem North, who's been helping tremendously with this initiative. Not used to this new setup. Thank you. Just wanted to provide a little bit of background. In 2018, Christine Rates was charged with heading up this initiative from New York State, and I share that just because we are proud. She's a Sachem graduate. She works now in Albany, and she's in charge of this initiative across New York State. There were a number of pilot schools that were involved in the Seal of Civic Readiness, and I have to say they provided so much background as well as collegial sharing that was very helpful to the rest of us districts across New York State to get up and running in an expeditious manner. And in June, we all of the districts were allowed to send in their application for approval, and this past summer, Sachem North and Sachem East both submitted their applications, and we were approved to get started on our work as well. And this past November, we had a really great Superintendent's Conference Day workshop where a lot of our key leaders, lead teachers, chair people across the district came together to put our plan in place and to develop some tools that we needed to get started.
So I think we were a little excited to say November 2023. It was this past November, but see how we're already featuring how so many students are going to be graduating with the seal.
And I also wanted to mention, there was another Sachem graduate who is with the Arlington School District, and she also has been sharing with us all of her resources as well. Kathy Bellino, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned two of those women leading the initiative. On the next slide, just a little bit of a background in terms of grounding this work. The Seal of Civic Readiness it can be used as a new humanities pathway. You'll see it mentioned there at the bottom of this slide. Or it also can be used as a standalone seal for students who are choosing this as a pathway, just in addition to another pathway that they choose. And I'm going to turn it over now to Mr. Carasello.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for your time. So why would we want to pursue the seal of civic readiness? It's a great question. And I think it kind of roots itself in the fact that we want all young people to be civically minded, understanding what it means to be a member of the community, a productive one at that. We definitely want to engage the students to be active citizens, to take part in their educational journey, to be a really responsible member in this community, and whichever one they choose to live in moving forward. It does provide them with choice. It provides them with a voice. It gives them really a chance to be an active member of the community. It's just not to go sit in a classroom, but to actually be visible, to be heard. It recognizes people who exceed the minimum, just not sitting in your global studies class, in your US history class, but going above and beyond to do a lot of things that a lot of us now as adults can do, and almost kind of probably wish we did do when we were 14, 15, 16, all the way to 18 years old. It's a flexible point-based system. There are two sides of the chart that will be discussed, and ultimately you can earn both sides relatively easily. You have to get 2 points on each side, which Ms. Melandro will speak about, and a total of 6 points to get the initiative. So this is a great graduation thing that we can put onto a diploma. It looks great on a college resume, on a future resume, and just as a member of this community and others, it's important, I think, that we are giving this opportunity to the kids. So there are 4 pillars: civic knowledge, skills and actions, mindsets, and experiences. So basically, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about learning about law, learning about justice systems, learning about the government, how it works, why it works. And we're doing this as early as the 5th grade, 4th grade, into the 8th grade with projects that we're starting now, and of course into the high school years. So we have civic knowledge, skills and action. This is where you learn to critically analyze things. It's great to tell me when something happened, but now we can hopefully have people who know why it happened. What's the impact of this? And moving forward, I think that's going to create better people for our community. The civic mindset piece is basically it's a principle which we are trying to, I'm not sure which one of these can come first actually. Do you have a civic mindset first, or do you have knowledge and action? So either of those can go hand in hand. But ultimately at the end, we are trying to have experiences that these kids can actually take with them on a long journey. As you see a brief look, K-5, we are offering things with readings, tutorials, little mock trials, little debates, 6th to 8th graders, you can see. Every kid's having the opportunity to earn points in middle school and ultimately get to high school with those points as well. Once you get to grades 9 to 12, it will intensify a bit. There'll be more opportunities and more classes. And ultimately, if we can get every kid to graduate with this on their diploma, I think it looks great. We've done a lot of hard work, the middle school level, the high school level. I think the community will endorse this and appreciate it with the board. I think we all want to have civic-minded kids, and I think this is a really, really strong way to get there. Lastly, from me, we are starting this in the 8th grade, not the 7th grade just quite yet, but the 8th grade. And you'll notice the project, it is intensive. There is deductive reasoning. There is analyzing an issue, coming up with a problem, doing research on it, analyzing it, creating an action plan, and ultimately maybe even going out and doing something about it. If you're not going to actually physically do that, you can reflect on what you would do, what could happen, and how you would actually change it moving forward. So I think it's a pretty cool thing that we've been able to accomplish with the help of Dr. Pelletieri, the district administration, of course, all the teachers, and hopefully the people in the community as well. Ms. Melandro?
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Tracy Melandro, the Social Studies Chairperson at Sachem East. And I'm really excited to be working on this initiative. And I wanted to share a few things with you about what we're doing in the high school to help make sure that students have opportunities to earn the civic seal. So this is the document that we'll be using to track students throughout their high school career so that they can see how close they are to earning that civic seal. But if you advance to the next slide. Thank you. All right, this is the rubric for earning the civic seal. So students will have to earn 2 points minimum on each side, 6 points total. So when we took a look at this, we saw that the left-hand side students, many students will naturally earn those credits that they need on the left-hand side. What we really needed to make sure that we built in was opportunities for those civic participation points on the right-hand side. For example, for the left-hand side, that research projects count. We started a new course this year, thanks to the 9th-period day called Humanities Research, and many of our 9th grade students will be earning that research project point on the left column, so that'll help get them started on their way. The right-hand column, looking at those 1.5 point high school civics projects, this year, one of our teachers, Megan Heinrichs, has launched those as a pilot in her social psychology class and her intro to sociology class. So that's where a lot of our graduates this year will be coming from. They'll be getting that high school civics project point and earning the civic seal. We think we'll have at least 30 students earning the civic seal this year. But that should grow so much in the next couple of years as we launch those projects that we have already in place, that we have created for our senior class and for the 9th graders. So seniors will have the opportunity in 5 elective classes, including their participation in government classes. So we'll have an economics project, we'll have a social issues project, and we'll have a project for criminal justice where they'll be able to earn that 1.5 civics project point. So it's going to become easier and easier as the years go on and the kids come up with the middle school capstone point. Then they'll earn another 1.5 points in 9th grade, and pretty soon most of the senior population will qualify for this civic seal. The opportunity for extra credit, extracurricular participation is there too, and then our hope is in the next couple of years to build in that civics capstone project for our high school students as well. So lots of opportunities already, and it's going to be growing in the years to come.
So to close, as was mentioned, we hope to graduate this year approximately 30 students at each of our 2 high schools with this seal of civic readiness. Again, we think that will grow exponentially when we get all of the other projects in place, as well as awarding them points for extracurricular activities and work-based learning. And we're really excited to get this started in Sachem. We welcome any questions or any feedback.
Questions from the board? Sister?
I was just curious about the process, how it's going to work. How are they going to be introduced to that in middle school? But who's going to monitor that election form? Is that going to be with their guidance counselors, the social studies teachers? How will that, because you don't want to end up in 12th grade and realize they can't make it, right?
Yes. So we are, our plan of action is to have teams at each of the buildings that will review those applications, and to also to guide students if they're close to achieving the seal, to be able to guide them so that they don't miss out any points that potentially they could earn. So essentially it'll be someone from district office, it'll be the social studies chair people, probably guidance as well, and an administrator from the building. So we'll have little teams at each building.
So this would be brought up when they're time to select their courses, I guess, early in the middle of the year, to have course selection, I guess they'll be reminded of all these things.
Yes, so in middle school, all students in 8th grade will have the opportunity to earn the seal. We thought that was important for equity. And then when they get to high school, it'll be more based on their course self-selection. And then, yes, we were working with our guidance department to make sure that they're aware also of the criteria necessary. And for us, we needed to look at what electives would be allowable to earn points through the seal. And in some of those, it's just a matter of needing to build in a reflection piece at the end or do little minor tweaks to curriculum writing.
And the students that earn it, they're actually gonna get a physical seal on their diplomas, like, there's like an advanced distinction seal.
Correct, there's a seal on their diploma itself, and we're hoping to have the course graduation. We are working out the logistics now. We hope to showcase and share some of the middle school exemplars this May or June with you, and then also to share with you some of the candidates from this year.
Yeah, I was hoping we could put this on a future agenda, see what if these projections of 30 each was coming true, or is it more or less? Have that follow-up, Dr. Beltran?
Of course, Allison, do you mind?
Mr. Ice Cream, this year is actually when we're implementing it for all 8th graders. I know Ms. Pickowitz had some feedback for us at Curriculum Council, so this will be the first year that all of our 8th graders will walk away with that first point. And then as Mr. O'Doherty said, Mr. Garciolo, we will ensure that the teams work with the counselors, council will be a part of that, so that we can monitor. Yep.
Yeah, that's the coordination I was supposed to.
And the team did want to request that they come back at the end of the school year to just share some of those samples of work and how we're going to move forward, and if in fact the number of students that we thought are going to be able to graduate with this first year of the seal.
And I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our social studies chair people have been so instrumental in the success. When we brought this to the middle school chairs, they immediately got to work and developed that research project so that we could implement it this year, and the students, our current 8th graders, could leave with those points. And the parents will be notified soon about all of that that's taking place in the middle school.
I don't know about anybody else, but I have a smile on my face looking at Sal Nicole's name, right?
Yes. Agreed.
As Mrs. Doherty said, a letter will go out to all the families the end of this week, just to kind of alert them. We were informally sharing it. Now, following the presentation, as long as everyone is approving of the fund and the model that we have, as we're starting with the 8th grade, we'll be alerting all the families of everything.
Alex, question?
Just a couple things. First, I want to thank you guys for coming tonight. I appreciate all the work that you put into it. How is our point system different from the schools that are already doing it? Is it unique to us, or is this something that was sent down from the state that everybody's doing universally across the board?
The rubric is universal across New York State. I think where there's flexibility is in the electives that we choose to accept that would earn points towards earning the seal. And other than that, I'm thinking extracurricular and work-based learning, we approve those if we believe that they would qualify.
That's what those teams come in, so that everything on the same page, have some. So we have some form of consensus before we say, yes, this project was good, no, that class doesn't fit. So it's not arbitrarily me or myself or Marie or anyone, not one person saying, yes, you're gonna get it, no, you're not. It'll be something that's decided by all, and then we can fit into that model.
Perfect. And do we have any information from the state that says if Mr. Bauman and I both apply for one college and I get the seal and he doesn't, that could be a deal breaker? That could be something that pushes one of our kids over the finish line?
I don't know if we have any direct research saying it does or does not, but I don't think it can hurt having it on there. Mr. Bauman does a great job. But I do think that that having it will be a benefit. I don't think it'd be a hindrance to anybody.
Thank you guys so much.
I think the seal is so new, right? We're going to be just up this year, so we'll have to do some research on that. That's a great question.
Stephanie?
Say you're an 11th grader and you're just hearing about this. Is there a way for them to earn the seal, or is it too late?
So we have the self-selection papers that the students are going to be given, and some of them already have been in their classes to see what would have fit and how close they would be. Some of them might, depending on the courses that they have taken in the past. That's not a guarantee. More likely, the sophomores and freshmen would have definitely more of the opportunity to do this. With the not a couple of the 20 or 30 seniors that we've really identified as possibilities, there'll be more juniors in that boat. I would say probably double that at least. And then we should multiply that by the years to come. And by the time the 8th grade class rolls through to this senior year, everybody really, theoretically can be earning this if they so choose.
Can I follow up with one more question? If, can they go backwards and do a research project to get the point that they didn't have the opportunity to get in middle school?
Yeah, I think that's something we definitely can entertain, and we can probably work out as independent type study. So if they wanted to do that, we can on an individual basis look at each student who might request it.
The 11th graders, there will definitely be opportunities for them in their senior year to get those points. And also, there's an extracurricular component too. So students that are involved in civic-minded activities, student government, class government, any other of the clubs that we have also, There is a component where they write a reflection piece, they present to us, and so then they'll have the opportunity to earn those points too. So there is some flexibility in that right-hand column also for students that are involved in clubs and other activities, even a work-based activity also.
Mr. Dunn?
Just two questions. One, and thank you. One, so you mentioned the extracurricular and the work study and all that. When it comes to like the National Honor Society, can they double dip as far as hours and that kind of thing? Like, does that work that way or not?
It's not necessarily community service hours that they're looking for the honor societies. It's more civic responsibility activities. So those will be kind of built into the coursework of whatever course they're being offered this opportunity in.
And then with the special ed students, so if they're students, they classified students that aren't taking the Regents or aren't part of, the general ed program, will they have the opportunity for this?
Yes, I do want to just make sure that this point is clear. This seal of civic readiness, there are opportunities for all learners to be able to achieve this seal. I think that's when they developed the rubric. I love the fact that they built in the extracurricular activities as well as work-based learning. And it's not just the academic portion, which we saw on the left-hand side. There's lots of opportunities for all students to earn. And I think as Mr. Carasello mentioned, South Country has a system in place where they're graduating quite a few students with the seal each year. And that's our goal essentially as well.
If I could just piggyback on that, because that was a really great question. In terms of preparing all of our students, but in particular our special education students, so that they are ready for, if not college, career, and or both. Similarly to our CDAS credential. People look at that and think of that as only for special education students. We know that there's quite a few school districts around us that through certain electives that they're asking their juniors and seniors to take, that they are graduating with CL, CDAS, so offering lots of opportunities for students, particularly those with special needs in our self-contained classes, to leave with CLs, accreditation, certification, so that they can start right away in either college or career workforce.
Great, thank you.
Stiglitz?
So I just wanted to share the feedback that Mrs. Hines, you're welcome. So at Curriculum Council I shared, my son is in 8th grade, so he completed his project before the break. It's actually due soon, but he finished it. And just the feedback from me that, typical learning, read, take a quiz, take a test, move on. This was definitely different, and I was excited to see my child learning in a different way, where it was, they were learning about the progressive era, they were talking about suffrage, he was sharing, even with poor working conditions, how there was a fire in a factory, the doors were locked, there wasn't enough stairs for it, so a lot of people died. So he shared that, so they're talking to them how if you want to make change in the world, what are the things that concern you? That was the first thing they did, brainstorm what is meaningful to you, so they did that. Then they got to choose which one was the most meaningful to them, and they ran with it, and they had to research it, they had to find the pros for them, they had to find what arguments were going to come at them on the other end so they could be prepared. They had to, what would they do? So one of the things I know my son wrote was like, well, I can go speak to, my principal, that I want to start a recycling program, or that we should all be going digital, and that we should, so he's coming up with all these things that he could do. I've never seen that before in him, which was so great to see. Instead of that typical, let's study, let's, read, repeat, that application was definitely a different type of learning that I saw, so I did really appreciate it, and appreciate his teacher for kind of pulling that out of him also. So the feedback, it was definitely a good start for the program.
Any other questions? Just one question. Anytime I know you receive distinction or accreditation such as this here, whether it's a new pathway such as the CTE pathway, do we know of any universities that are providing articulated credit if a student does graduate with that seal, but maybe they aren't accredited to college for humanities or humanities class or along those lines? Usually you see that sometimes. Have we heard of that?
I'm not aware of it, but actually have a planning meeting coming up, so it's something we could definitely follow up on. I know the people that we could ask in the state.
Dr. Miller is actually.
Dr. Miller's been working quite a bit on articulations, looking at all of our electives in our classes, which some may be included in the seal, where they could be getting credit and or getting sort of an up, right, going into the college process. So maybe not necessarily the seal, but the classes that they're taking and then articulation with schools. But we'll definitely look into it and get back to you about that for more particulars.
Any other questions on the board?
The intro to sociology course where the project is running this year is offered for summer credits.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, free
Oh,
summer
great.
credits.
I would imagine, you know, it's with all these seal of approvals and endorsements, you know, kids receiving their diplomas, often at times you will see, you know, articulated credit at the college level for whatever, you know, even if it's a 3-credit class, you know, it helps to motivate the students who want to participate more. So, thank you for coming out and this whole evening and presenting this evening. It's very, very informative. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very briefly, I want to thank you for your efforts. I mean, I first started hearing about the Seal of Civic Readiness here in the midst of COVID and all that was going on in the world, and you all jumped right in, and already we were approved this past June, underway, expecting kids graduating this year. I really applaud your efforts and the staff, teachers that worked through this to make sure that this happened for our kids. We are a civic-minded community, right? It's really important to us. We met and spoke with the portrait of a graduate committee. One of the things we look for, what does it mean to be a graduate of SACHA? One of those things was civic-mindedness. That's something I know that's going to be repeated. And the fact that we're able to do this so quickly, I really appreciate hitting home on something that's important in this community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wanted to briefly mention, Mrs. Volpe emailed me that she's away at work and not missing tonight for any other reason, so that people recognize that. That's it for my report at this time. Thank you very much.
Liz, I don't know if we can respond. Any updates? Anything going on that you want to share with us?
Yeah, actually this last week we had the ALS Sparkle Assembly at the Youth in Diamond Hill. It was a good opportunity. They come every single year to talk about their experience. I think one of the founder of the organization's wife and one of the ALS patients come and they just talk about like their experience and everything and teaching students about it. It's a good experience. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, it brings us to the approval of minutes. Item D, approval of minutes for December 14th and December 22nd. And the motion, say Sherry, second, Alex. Any questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Two, we have a public comment. Anybody?
No.
And 3, we have business items with consent agenda A through F. Any motion, please? Mr. Reynolds, second by Ms. Volpe. Questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Item 4, personnel, teachers, we have consent agenda A through J. Any motion, please? Okay, Ms. Downing, second, Ms. Larry. Questions or discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Item 5, we have personnel support staff. We have a consent agenda A through F. I need a motion, please. Ms. Alex Grillo, second, and Ms. Pickles. Questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Page E, we have item 6, contracts, consent agenda A through J. The motion, please, Mr. Reynolds, second. Ms. Sarian, questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, item 7 is action items, the registration along with legislative conference. Any motion, please? Ms. Sarian, second by Ms. Lowry. Questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Item 8 is the field trip, the approval of the municipal only student conference field trip. The motion, Ms. Alex Grillo, second, and Ms. Volpe. Any questions or discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Item 9 is donations from Zebra Technologies. A motion, please. Ms. Sherry, any second. Mr. Reynolds, questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We can get a letter out to them, thanking them. Be appreciative. Item 10, budget transfers. Any motion, please. Ms. Sherry, second. Mr. Reynolds, questions or discussions? Any clarification? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 11 is Committee on Special Education, the consent agenda A and B. Dates are listed December 15th, 16th, and 22nd, January 3rd through 6th, and 9th and 11th. Any questions or discussion? Mr. Downing, motion. Second, Mr. Grillo. Questions? All right. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Number 12, monthly reports. Give the monthly reports to Mr. Suri.
Just a quick, the policy committee will be meeting on the 17th, so I'm sure the next week we'll have a report on that.
Ms. Holden.
The diversity committee just met, and it was a pretty amazing presentation. Could we get his presentation forwarded to the board?
I'm actually going to be speaking about the diversity committee tonight, and some supporting information around that.
Okay, cool, thanks.
The other committee reports? Mr. Reynolds?
Just one comment. As we enter budget season now, the Budget Advisory Committee will start kicking off, so we're probably going to schedule some time. So, Allison, I just wanted to reach out to you, maybe just get all the participants, and I'll send out a notice, and we'll get that kicked off shortly. One of the things maybe, Michelle, we can do is, would somebody on your team be able to maybe address that committee and sort of present out the whole budget process before we kick this off? Would that be, okay, so we can coordinate, but that's.
That would be live, or would be Zoom, not sure?
We can do it here, we can do it Zoom. Tomorrow night's the legislative committee. I think it's going to be in person with some people zooming in, but, you know, if we can do it in person, more the better. It's like we'll centralize.
All right. Item 13, public comment. Anyone else? Board discussion items, we did these. Cyrus?
Hi, I'd just like to take a moment to address some of the social media allegations, not directed at the board, because that would be for our legal counsel or board president or superintendent, but the allegations that were posted across social media regarding my appointment to the vacant board seat. For those that are unaware, I did not seek re-election in 2021 because I was recovering from COVID. I was hospitalized, I was on oxygen, and I was unable to campaign. As my health condition improved, under the guidance of our legal counsel, I followed the protocols to have a meeting and the protocols for an appointment to the board seat. Over the past 2 years, so everybody is aware, there have been many, many emergency and special board meetings, yet this was the only meeting that was singled out, was my appointment. So I think that was a direct attack on my reputation and my character and my integrity. For example, on June 6, 2021, a Sunday night, an emergency board meeting was posted by our district clerk, Ms. Florio, at 3:57 p.m. regarding our mask policy. We met by Zoom, and that Monday, our students went mask-free based on that emergency meeting. Another time, there was an emergency meeting that was attempted to be called regarding joining an amicus brief. It was a Friday. Some of the board trustees were working and could not attend. And that was, again, we had to meet that day because it had to be decided by 5 p.m. that day. And again, those board members who could not meet due to work were called out on social media for not doing their job as board trustees, even though the protocols for an emergency meeting apparently were okay for that situation, but for my appointment, they were not. So for these reasons, I just want to make the Sachem community aware that for 9 years, I volunteered my time as a board trustee. Prior to that, for 20 years, I volunteered my time as a CSE parent member on booster clubs, on numerous other facilities committees, legislative committees, and I volunteer my time to do what I feel is in the best interest of our Sachem community. For people to call me out as I've gotten away with stealing for all these years, but now I've gotten caught, is uncalled for, and I want to let the community know everything that I have done, any emergency meeting I have attended, any emergency meeting a board president has called, has been done under the guidelines of our district attorney. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, future discussion items.
I have.
Okay, Laura, Ed?
So as we're doing portrait of a graduate, culture of caring and everything, I've read numerous articles on GPAs and how school districts look at the way they've done GPAs in the past, present, with like a seal of civic readiness. Maybe that would count in a GPA that maybe in the past we didn't have that. So I was just wondering if through the portrait of a graduate, your curriculum council, something like that, we could look at have we always done GPAs the same way, or other districts doing it a different way, or just revisit how we've done it, because maybe there's something different or something new to look at. Thank you.
So you're looking at the calculation, presentation and calculation of GPAs.
Yes, thank you.
Everybody remember today? Absolutely. Any other future discussion items? Okay, we're going into budget season, so our discussions are going to be robust and long, to say the least. And our next meeting is scheduled for January 25th, 2023, here in the boardroom at 7 p.m. At this time, I need a motion to go into exec session to discuss, staffing, as well as the sale of real property, an incident involving students, one of our elementary schools, as well as an employee investigation. Motion, please. That's Ernie, second by Ms. Slattery. All in favor?
Aye.
Did I miss something?
Public comment, second public.
Yeah. I have a motion, I have a second?
Yes.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you, have a good evening, everyone.